who can't make it would like to check this out later on. And we'll get started. Awesome. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Surfrider Foundation Ocean Friendly Restaurants 2.0 webinar. I'm really excited to hear from our guest speakers and chapter leaders from throughout Southern California. My name is Bill Hickman. I am the Surfrider Foundation Southern California Regional Manager. And first off, I want to thank the South Orange County chapter for helping to organize the webinar tonight, specifically Denise Erkeneff and Tam Gilbert. Thank you both very much for your help. Tonight, we'll get an overview of the Ocean Friendly Restaurants program from Surfrider headquarters. Then I'm excited to hear from Chef Danielle Kuhn about best practices for restaurants. After that, we have leaders from all of the chapters in Southern California who will talk about how they are implementing ocean-friendly restaurants, along with volunteer opportunities. So if we aim to wrap that up in an hour or less, then I'm going to stay on for open discussion after that, where you can ask more questions, share ideas. I'm happy to pop people in a breakout room if they want to chat with their local chapter leaders, things along those lines. So feel free to pop questions in the chat as we go, and we'll try to answer those, on the spot, especially if we just need to clarify something, things along those lines. But why don't we get started? If you could type your first name and location in the chat, it would be awesome. Feel free to include your email if you'd like to get connected with your local Surfrider chapter, or you can send me the email in a direct message if you prefer, and we'll get that all later on. So first up tonight, I am happy to introduce two awesome ladies from the Plastic Pollution Initiative team at Surfrider headquarters. Rachel Kochia is the Plastic Pollution Manager, and Jenny Hart is the Plastic Pollution Coordinator. So why don't you go ahead and take it away, ladies?
Awesome. Thanks, Bill. Let me see if I can get screen sharing going. All right. Great. So yes, thanks so much for joining this evening to learn about Surfrider's Ocean Friendly Restaurants program. I'm Rachel, and I've been overseeing the program at the national level for the past 2 years. And, I really enjoy working with this program and all of the incredible volunteers and the dedicated network of restaurants. It really is a feel-good program. And I think, in general, working on plastic pollution, there tends to be a lot of doom and gloom involved, but this program really is a celebration of the solutions that are happening today. So Jenny and I will cover some of the background and basics of the program for you tonight. And we really look forward to hearing from the rest of the speakers. So the Surfrider Foundation utilizes a four-pronged approach to reducing the impact of plastic pollution and ultimately stopping it at the source. This includes our Rise Above Plastics program, which includes outreach and education, the beach cleanup program, ocean-friendly restaurants, and policy. Ocean-friendly restaurants, or as we refer to it as OFR, is a critical public-facing program that provides businesses with the tools and support that they need to make the switch from single-use to more sustainable reuse. Ocean-friendly restaurants first launched in 2013 with Surfrider's Huntington Beach chapter, and the program quickly expanded throughout Southern California and Hawaii, becoming a nationally recognized program in 2018. OFR is complementary to Surfrider's policy endeavor as we engage with key stakeholders to showcase the benefits of eliminating single-use plastic and helping to alleviate the concerns around financial hardship or negative public perception that often come with switching from single-use to reuse. Through annual review and criteria adjustments, OFR continues to nudge restaurants in the direction of zero waste while considering policy advancements and aligning with the latest priority campaigns. We recognize restaurants that are committed to cutting out wasteful single-use plastic by offering a simple, straightforward framework to help them make more sustainable choices for the ocean. But why spend all this time focusing on restaurants? Plastic is a problem before it actually reaches the beach. The extraction, production, consumption, and disposal life cycle elements of plastic all carry serious environmental and humanitarian consequences. Single-use foodware in particular is detrimental as bags, bottles, straws, expanded polystyrene foam, and food wrappers consistently top the list of items that our volunteers collect at cleanups. Plastic not only harms wildlife, it also contains toxic chemicals that can transfer from containers, cups, cutlery, and straws directly into the food and beverages we're consuming. Plastic foodware therefore presents not only an environmental threat, but a significant public health concern as well. Much of the popular single-use plastic foodware items do have healthier and more sustainable alternatives available on the market today, and a lot of them can be very easily implemented. That's where OFR comes in. We're building an inclusive community of eco-conscious restaurants, activists, and patrons that support a healthy lifestyle for ourselves and our planet in order to find more joy and peace in our everyday lives. The larger we grow this network of ocean-friendly leaders, the more mainstream the concept of plastic-free becomes. I'm gonna hand things off to Jenny to share a little bit about our network.
Thanks, Rachel. So one of the best parts about the Ocean Friendly Restaurants program is this incredible support network. So the chapter network is key to the success of this program. At Surfrider headquarters, we help to manage the national program, provide some guidance, assistance with anything that might come up, but it truly is the chapters that run this. So they provide almost all of the on-the-ground communication with restaurants. So this can range from kind of the more administrative side of things, like compliance checks, signing up restaurants, helping them meet the criteria, and then it can get all the way into the more fun stuff. So hosting restaurant weeks or happy hours, or finding opportunities to really connect restaurants with some of the current policy efforts that are happening at the moment. So it truly, truly is. Our chapters are where the relationship building with our restaurants takes place. And they really help to create this tight-knit OFR community. And it's just incredible. Like, as someone who's kind of overseeing the program, it's amazing to see what our network can actually accomplish. Despite some of the challenges that COVID-19 kind of brought to the restaurant industry and to the Ocean Friendly Restaurants program, our membership was able to hold steady at around 670 restaurants across the country. This truly, truly speaks to the perseverance of not only our restaurant members, but also our chapters and our staff all working together to keep this program going strong. To see the widespread success of Ocean Friendly Restaurants, all you have to do is check out this map that's on the screen. There's restaurants all across the country, and it's just such an amazing effort that everyone has put together to keep this program really at the forefront of some of the plastic pollution work that's happening. So check out surfrider.org/OFR, and you can actually see this and interact with all the different restaurants.
Yeah, thanks, Jenny. I like that this map is in real time too. So as we get new signups, it's automatically updated here. So it really is the latest snapshot of where our ocean-friendly restaurants are located. So the pandemic, as Jenny mentioned, definitely rose some new challenges for us, but it also sparked a conversation around the program and discussion of program innovation opportunities, which resulted in the removal of the mandatory fee, which is replaced by an optional donation of $150. However, restaurants can sign up and choose to sign up without the donation, and they still receive the same benefits. So we are trying to be more conscious of the difficulty that has come across restaurants recently, and in an effort to expand the program to more diverse regions and locations. This also brought about some new criteria in order to help address the increase in takeout that we all saw happening and probably experienced firsthand. So what does it take to be an ocean-friendly restaurant? Oh, well, to start, restaurants must meet all 7 mandatory criteria, which are focused on reducing plastic pollution by prioritizing reusables and eliminating the most harmful types of single-use plastic. So the first is only reusable foodware for on-site dining. Second, we have paper straws or other naturally occurring materials like hay. Straws are only provided upon request. We have no expanded polystyrene use at all, no plastic bags. All of the takeout accessory items like the single-use utensils, straws, and condiments are provided only upon request, and that's particularly for takeout and to-go. Beverages are not sold in plastic bottles, and proper recycling practices are followed. And we realize that the recycling criterion can be a difficult one. I think we're all becoming more aware that recycling systems are broken and have not been effective. However, we still ask restaurants to try and meet this criterion to the best of their ability based on local laws and opportunities. And in addition to the 7 mandatory criteria, we have 8 optional, of which members must select at least 3. These expand beyond plastics, including energy and water conservation, sustainable food offerings, as well as food waste composting, which was a new addition. And if restaurants meet all of the optional criteria as well as the mandatory, they become a platinum level restaurant, and they are identified as, they have a different identification on the map as well as the window decal that they receive. So the optional criteria include a discount being offered for customers with a reusable item. Vegetarian and vegan food options are available on a regular basis. All seafood is best choice or good alternative, and that's with Seafood Watch. Or of course, no seafood is served. And based on the conversation that sparked around Seaspiracy, we definitely recommend, and this is something we've always recommended, is that chapters work with local fishermen to identify locally sourced sustainable seafood. And we understand that it really does become a case-by-case based on region and availability as to what is considered a sustainable seafood option. However, Seafood Watch does provide a pretty good broad overview, and it's backed by a lot of scientific research. We also have water conservation and pollution mitigation efforts are implemented, energy efficiency efforts in place, concessions and prepackaged food are not sold in plastic, composting efforts for food waste, and finally, neither single-use plastic nor bio-based plastic containers are used for takeout and to-go orders, with reusable containers being strongly preferred. And this is an exciting one because we've been seeing actually in the midst of COVID, a spike in the number of reusable takeout programs. Dispatch Goods is one that we've worked with, and they're primarily in San Francisco, but looking to expand, coming down potentially to Southern California. And even at the restaurant level, we've seen some great innovation to include the option to either bring a reusable container or rent one from the restaurant. And I know the San Diego chapter has done a wonderful ocean-friendly to-go initiative that we might hear a little bit about later. And the bio-based is really important. We do not recommend bioplastics or plant-based plastic items, as they typically are involved in greenwashing, meaning that the claims are not actually demonstrated by testing. And there's actually a recent study that shows that these bioplastics are just as toxic in regards to human health and environmental concerns as petroleum plastic. And Jenny actually is going to share a little bit about some of the resources that we have offered restaurants.
Yeah, so we are constantly creating new resources for restaurants and for our chapter network, just to kind of elevate the OFR experience, to help kind of navigate as Rachel sort of mentioned, single-use plastics can be super confusing. So to kind of help our restaurants and our chapters navigate that, we released our ocean-friendly foodware guide. So it kind of helps to break down some of the different terminology that you'll see around single-use plastics. It also provides some examples of better alternative items And it even includes a cost calculator to make sure that ultimately our restaurants are saving money. We hope that this kind of serves as a guide. As Rachel mentioned with the seafood, sourcing different single-use items for your restaurant can be really complicated. So we urge our chapters to work with our restaurants to find local providers, local suppliers to help kind of cut back and, take this guide in and use it to source the best options that you can find for your restaurant. So just helping to examine your buying habits and working towards transitioning to the best choice that you can possibly make. In addition to that, all of our ocean-friendly restaurant members receive marketing collateral and digital materials to help promote their OFR status. We also do a monthly newsletter coming out of headquarters, which includes restaurant spotlights, helpful tips, different kind of articles about new science or policy efforts. And then we also offer our ocean-friendly vendor discount list. So this can kind of help provide some discounts for some specialty single-use items. Picture like hay straws or reusable straws, kind of things that might be a little bit more difficult to find from traditional restaurant suppliers. We are also constantly producing blogs. So not only just from headquarters, but our chapter network is too. And these are really timely. We have been doing blogs on the COVID pandemic, how reusables are still safe, like I said, different policy efforts. We hope that we can kind of use all of these different resources to just shine a light on some of the more complicated aspects around single-use plastics. So we ultimately are here to help. We're here to help our restaurants and our volunteers. If there are resources that you think would be amazing or that you'd like to see or something that you would find really helpful, please reach out to us. Send us an email at ofr@surfrider.org. We're always looking to improve the program and keep growing and keep kind of being a leader in the plastic-free restaurant space.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jenny. We're just going to wrap up here. I wanted to thank all of our incredible restaurant members and the dedicated volunteers that are out there helping to spread the word and build a supportive community around this program. It really is a grassroots effort, and we're very grateful to all of your leadership. This is just a snapshot of some of our restaurant members, and we are continuing to grow this community, so we hope that you'll join us. And Jenny had mentioned the website, surfrider.org/OFR is where you can view that map. You can get all the information about the program. You can help sign up restaurants or just find restaurants near you to support. So thank you so much. And we look forward to hearing from the speakers.
Awesome. That was great. Thank you very much, Rachel and Jenny. Next, let me turn it over to Tam Gilbert, the Ocean Friendly Restaurants lead for South Orange County chapter, to introduce our next speaker.
Yeah, thanks so much, Bill. It's my pleasure to introduce Chef Danielle Kuhn, the beloved chef and owner of Maison Cafe and Market in Dana Point, and the future Gianna Bakery and Provisions, also in Dana Point. Danielle was an early adopter of the Ocean Friendly Restaurants program, having signed up the Cellar in San Clemente several years ago, one of our first Ocean Friendly restaurants in South Orange County. Since then, she's broken off and started her own very popular, very successful restaurant, Maison, which has, in my opinion, been a local's favorite and has somewhat of a cult-like following. It's hard to go by the restaurant and not see a line out the door, people waiting for tables. So it's just amazing. If you've ever met Danielle, you know that she operates with a ton of love and integrity. You see it in how she takes care of her team and patrons, as well as the choices that she makes to operate her business as sustainably as possible. I personally love that she uses vintage recycled dishes. It's a really nice, charming touch. If you're not from the area, or if you do live nearby, I urge out of your busy schedule that restaurant work is busy, so we really appreciate it. So with that said, I'll turn it over to you. And if you could just share how you implement ocean-friendly practices into your business, both at Maison and upcoming Gianna.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here. My light might go off because it's on a timer, and if I don't move too much, it automatically shuts off. All the restaurants at Maison do, or all the lights at Maison do that. I think one of the hardest things for me in the last year was seeing how many small restaurants that were so close to being sustainable really fell off the wagon because of COVID. I walk outside of Maison every morning, and from the Poke restaurant and Carl's and Arco, there's just so much more plastic waste than I saw a year and a half ago. So I think educating, I think a lot of small businesses think it's going to cost them a lot more to be sustainable. And the reality is it doesn't cost a lot more. It's making very conscious efforts to do what's right for the planet. And do what's right for the ocean. I've always kind of been sustainable. Prior to running the cellar, I've always been a private chef. And part of my requirements when I was cooking at people's houses is that they provided me with glass, plastic, or glass, the Pyrex containers with the plastic lids, so that there was always something reusable. So there wasn't a lot of waste. And that practice has just kind of gone through the restaurants that I've run and operated. At Maison, we use nothing that's plastic. We do use some of the bioplastic for our juice containers. We originally had glass containers, glass juice bottles, and we thought, oh, if you bring it back, we'll give you $1 off your next one. No one brought them back. So there's certain practices where you have to find the balance of how do you stay where you're profitable and not losing money, but also doing something that's not hurting the planet and hurting the ocean. And that's just how we operate. Our china all started with my grandma's china. When she passed away, she had 8 sets of china and none of her kids wanted it. So I said, well, one day I'm going to open Maison, and it stayed in my garage for 9 years until I opened Maison. And we're doing Gianna the same way. We have the low water toilets. All of our lights are on timers. Many of the lights at both restaurants are going to be the LED. So you just have to make the effort, I think, from the get-go when you're opening a new business. And then I think for Surfrider Foundation, it's just the education. It's just educating the restaurants that they can do it. I won't go places that use styrofoam because I'm so anti-styrofoam. So like the boys and I, wherever we choose to eat out and do takeout, if it has styrofoam, we won't go there. I think informing the public too, because, we have a few awesome Surfrider supporters that come into Maison, but I think the public doesn't necessarily think about it. So I think it's education overall. I think you guys have done an amazing job, and I think there's just so much room to grow what we do to make restaurants and the public more aware of the damage that's caused by the single-use items. And I don't know what else. If anyone has any questions about what it's like to run a restaurant through a pandemic.
That's great, Danielle. Really inspiring. You talked about one of the challenges with juice and getting people to bring back reusable containers. Are there any other challenges that you've had that maybe you've found a solution to, a plastic or a disposable item that you didn't think you'd be able to get rid of, or any other success stories you'd like to share?
All of our plastic, I think that, again, with the education, it's showing restaurants where to buy the right products from. We use a online supply company where everything is biodegradable, either made from the TPLA or the CPLA, recycled paper, bamboo, the hay products. And there is a higher cost that's involved. But for me, it's like using recycled products is similar to using organic ingredients. From the get-go with Maison, we are organic. That's my commitment to my guests, is that when you eat here, the food that you put in your body is going to be good. We have no canola, no soy, no peanuts. So I think for me, it was just made sense. There was no question about whether we're going to use plastic or recyclables, because it's that commitment to not only your health, but global health. So for us, no, we've just had to, okay, the glass bottles were costing me $1.25 each and no one was returning them. So now we use the PLA bottles, you know, which again aren't perfect because they are single use, even though they're made from the corn. But to me, it's a better alternative than, you know, going from something that could cost even less, but is just killing the planet.
Right. Great. Well, thank you so much for leading by example and, you know, having such sustainable practices. We love it for sure.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to go back out to the restaurant. It's dinner service right now. Thanks, guys.
Thanks again, Danielle. We appreciate you joining us for a little bit. Awesome. If you're still there, Danielle, and you have the name of your supplier, I do see that as a quick question that's out there.
Yeah, I will. I'll type it in there really quick so you guys all have it.
Perfect. Thank you very much again.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Take care. Awesome. Well, next, I am looking forward to hearing from our chapter leaders. If you're not super familiar with Surfrider, you may not be aware how our chapter network started organically about 30 years ago. The original chapter leaders basically just stuck a Surfrider flag in the ground for a whole county or a portion of a county. So we ended up with one chapter that covers all of San Diego County, 3 chapters in Orange County, 3 chapters in LA County, 1 chapter for Ventura County, and 1 chapter for Santa Barbara County. So for this part, we'll go from south to north, starting with Vicki from the San Diego County chapter. Take it away, Vicki.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for organizing this, guys. I am working off a hotspot. We just moved and we don't have our Wi-Fi set up, so I hope everyone can hear me okay and it's not too slow. Yeah, so where do I begin? I kind of dropped the ball the last month because we were selling our house as far as the ocean-friendly restaurants 2.0, but I'm raring to go now. I actually just got off the phone with Viewpoint Brewery up in Del Mar. They want to join the 2.0 program. And so I'm going up there on Tuesday to do a compliance check, and I want to print up my 8.5 by 11 certificates with the new logo, which restaurants seem to really like that when you can take photos with a bigger certificate so that we can put them on our website or a blog post or whatever it might be. What I have found interesting lately, we've kind of started this even before COVID, we started talking to business associations. And so instead of going door to door individual restaurants, we've had a lot of success with contacting business associations. Every little city in San Diego County, and I'm sure other counties, has a business association. So it's kind of exciting with Del Mar. West Brew became, they implemented our Ocean Friendly To Go program. And now Westview is going to be Ocean Friendly Restaurant certified, or I don't know, what do we call it now? So it's not certified, it's not a membership. So I'm not sure what we call it now. So that was a question for you, actually. So I talked to the owner of Westview, and he is actually on the board of Del Mar Village Association. And it is his job to get as many restaurants in Del Mar to become Surfrider Ocean Friendly restaurants. So I'm thinking this is great because he's doing all the work that it would require multiple volunteers. We can finish it off. We can be the closers and do the compliance checks and, you know, maintain communication with the restaurants, but that's what his job is on the board, is to get ocean friendly restaurants. So that was really exciting and a good connection. So that's just a case in point how business associations can work really well to get restaurants to sign up. Bill, I don't know, do you want me to go into the Ocean Friendly To Go program really quick, or do you want me to show you that video that Mitch
Why don't we do
Send-
both of those and then maybe take a quick moment to talk about your OFR committee, maybe how often you meet, outside of COVID times. And I really liked, I think a couple times you had a meeting and then went right out to talk to restaurant owners and managers. Maybe touch on that real quick.
Yeah, we have a OFR specific meeting every other month. We also talk about OFR at the Rise Above Plastics, which actually happened to be tonight as well. So Janice, who is the co-chair, she is going to spread the word for me. But we have it every other month, specifically for OFR. And pre-COVID, we used to have a little meeting, kind of a training meeting for volunteers. And then we would go out and hit a particular neighborhood. So we might have a meeting at one of the restaurants, say in Hillcrest area. And then we would go on the streets of Hillcrest. We used to call them ocean friendly restaurant blitzes. So we would blitz the neighborhood and just go restaurant to restaurant. Rachel was on one, I think in Solana Beach or where Encinitas, I can't remember. But
yeah, I joined you in Ocean Beach and then in
that's
Emphasis. Yeah.
yeah, actually, Rachel did one in Ocean Beach when she first moved to San Diego. You were brand new.
Mhm.
That's when I first met you. Yeah, so we look forward to kind of slowly getting those started up again when we feel comfortable doing that. The only thing with COVID right now, you don't want to go in with a big group. So, it would be better just to have 2 volunteers maybe go in to a restaurant at a time. And let's see, so that's what's going on with our meetings. And as far as getting our current OFRs to sign up for the new program, I mentioned this last time at one of our meetings with Rachel and Jenny. I'm going to see how it goes. We have a meeting coming up on the 25th of May. I want to see if I can get volunteers to sign up for, even if it's just 1 or 2 restaurants in their community, to go be like the ambassador for ocean friendly restaurants and that restaurant, be the liaison between, getting donations from them, using them for policy work. So that volunteer would be the contact person. So the restaurant could reach out to that specific person if they ever have any questions or they want to donate something. If Rise Above Plastics, for some ordinance, needs support of an ocean-friendly restaurant owner or a chef, that volunteer can reach out to that restaurant and say, oh, we have this really important policy coming up. Can you show your support for that by showing up to the city council meeting and that sort of thing? So I'm not sure how that's going to go. It's the first time that we're going to try it. And I'll probably have more feedback and more information about that after our meeting on May 25th. But I don't know what you guys think about that idea, if you have any input. I know sometimes it's hard to keep volunteers around, for a long period of time to be that liaison with the restaurant. But
I think that's great. They kind of have a little more ownership and, in charge of something. So yeah, I mean, that's really, the direction that we want to see the program going, I think. That's awesome. Yeah.
And I think the restaurant owners really like to have one contact person. So it feels more personal to them and they feel like they're getting more personal attention.
Yep. I love it.
So,
okay. Do you want to give the 30-second elevator pitch for the To-Go program and I'll show that video?
Sure. Yeah, we during COVID, we were twiddling our thumbs and we needed some kind of project. So we came up with the Ocean Friendly To-Go program, and basically it's where a customer can bring their own container and go to a specified transfer station where the restaurant will bring out your meal on completely reusable dinnerware, and you transfer your food into your container. The restaurant staff never has to touch your container. And after you're done filling your container, you just leave everything there and they bus it like you were a dine-in customer. And it's super simple. Your container never crosses the counter. You know, you don't have to worry about an image of a customer seeing your container go across the counter. It's just a really easy solution to try to reduce to-go waste, which we've all seen a huge uptick during COVID.
Again, I love this short little video that the chapter put together for this. So let me pop that up for everybody. So simple. I love it. Hopefully that was a smooth video on your end. Awesome. Thank you very much, Vicki.
Sure.
All right, let's head north to South Orange County and turn it over to Tam again.
All right, thanks, Bill. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and just share a little presentation that I put together. One second. All right. So I'm Tam. This is Tui. He's the reason why I volunteer for Surfrider. Hopefully I can do my part to leave the world a better place. Don't be deceived by his cuteness. This is what he normally looks like. Boogers, binky and all. So I chair or lead the Ocean Friendly Restaurant Program for South Orange County, which includes San Clemente, Dana Point, Laguna Beach, San Juan Capistrano, Laguna Niguel, Mission Viejo, Rancho Santa Margarita, and more. Like the fine people in this picture, I also come from a restaurant background. I've spent the better part of 15 years working as a pastry chef in businesses large and small. So I bring to the table an insider's perspective on how restaurants work and where there's room for improvement. And I think that what's so remarkable about the restaurant industry, especially during a global pandemic, is that they still want to make great choices and work within the triple bottom line, people and planet before profit. Restaurants notoriously work with very thin margins, and restaurant owners are still working really hard to make the right decisions, whether it be to source a better, more sustainable fish or work with a local farmer. The industry really cares. And I think it's because the reuse and zero waste movement is really taking hold and it's good for business. What restaurant owners do need is more time, and they need information that's presented in a really digestible manner, which is why I'm so excited for this iteration of the OFR program, because everything is just so streamlined and so packageable to give to restaurants, which makes it a really easy ask for OFR volunteers to get on board. If you're curious about who is an ocean-friendly restaurant, here's just a quick snapshot. Hopefully you'll see places that you've been to before or that are maybe your favorites. If you're not from the area, definitely look on that OFR map and give them a try. The way that we've really ignited our program here in South Orange County started with a lot of like boots on the ground grassroots effort, kind of like what Vicky was talking about. So pre-COVID, we found a lot of success by hosting mixers or happy hours at a highlighted ocean-friendly restaurant, but we would be pretty strategic about it. And maybe a week or 2 weeks before, we would gather our ocean-friendly restaurant volunteers at that restaurant. We'd sit down, we'd have a little food, and then from there, we would essentially canvass the neighborhood and drop off flyers to promote the upcoming mixer at that restaurant to other local businesses, restaurants, and even retail businesses, just to kind of spread the word and say like, hey, these guys are doing great work. They're joining this ocean-friendly restaurant program. Come on over and have a bite to eat with us and learn a little bit more about what we do. We are going to reignite our program, which has been a little bit dormant throughout the past year, by having Ocean Friendly Restaurants Month in South Orange County for the entire month of July. So we want to really kickstart this with a bang and capitalize on the energy of the global plastic-free July movement. Basically, it's going to be primarily a virtual social media campaign or event intended to highlight current ocean-friendly restaurants, you know, show some love to them, attract new restaurants, and put our OFR volunteers to work. There's a lot of people who've reached out who want to volunteer their time with the program, and this will be a great way to start out. Basically how it's going to work is that participating restaurants will feature an ocean-friendly dish, which can be vegan, vegetarian, or feature local sustainably sourced fish. It can be a dish that's already on their menu, or it can be a special. Basically, it's to serve as a talking point for staff and guests to learn more about what it means to be ocean friendly and why it's such a great choice. We'll have Surfrider giveaways and dining certificates, but most importantly, we are going to adopt the San Diego chapter's Ocean Friendly to Go program and basically use this time to kind of test pilot it with a couple restaurants in our area, and hopefully it'll catch on. Here is a great graphic from the San Diego chapter that just describes how it works, as Vicky explained. It's super simple, where you essentially are served your meal on the restaurant's reusable dishes, and then you go ahead and box it into your own container at a designated spot. Thank you, San Diego chapter. This is a brilliant idea, and you've made the resources so easy. So how to get involved in our program? It's pretty simple. You can start by just showing support by dining at Ocean Friendly Restaurants during Ocean Friendly Restaurant Month in July and well beyond that, and just start a conversation with restaurant owners. Just thank them for, you know, doing what they had to do to survive the pandemic and making good choices to ditch single-use plastics in the best way they can. It's always nice to have volunteers share their experience on social media. When ordering takeout, you know, just make sure that it's part of your language to refuse utensils and condiments that you don't need, and definitely give the Ocean Friendly to Go program a shot. And probably most importantly, just tap into your local network and think about the restaurants that you frequent, and just get to know the owners or managers, and just tell them about the program that, you know, you're a Surfrider volunteer and this is what it's all about. We do have a couple great opportunities that we've lined up for volunteer training. On May 24th, we'll have a chapter-wide training, which will touch on volunteer opportunities with various different events that we're working on, including beach cleanup. And then there'll be a separate Ocean Friendly Restaurants Ambassador training on the 23rd of June at 7:30, where volunteers will get a toolkit with all of the information that they need to successfully do outreach to restaurants, as well as onboarding. I'm right there with Vicky. We're going to essentially give volunteers some ownership. If they're the contact for the restaurant, they they're with them through everything. We want them to, that volunteer to be the point person for that particular restaurant. And our newest exciting thing in our chapter is that we'll be having a benefit breakfast with our newest ocean-friendly restaurant called Snooze AM Eatery in Laguna Niguel. So this is a great way to try out an ocean-friendly restaurant. They have an incredible sustainable initiative. They're a Colorado-based restaurant now, starting to open new locations throughout Southern California. So Surfrider members can go and enjoy a breakfast on the house. My contact info is here for any questions. And that wraps it up for me. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. I love it, Tam. Great approach and great work there in South Orange County.
Thank you.
All right, well, let's go a little bit up the way and turn it over to Michelle, the chair of the Newport Beach chapter.
Hi, my presentation is going to be a little bit shorter than the last two. We have 8 restaurants in our area that are ocean friendly, and we have another one that's going to open next month. So we're very excited about that. Before the pandemic, we were trying to start up OFR. Just get some momentum on it. And we had a social event at Andre's Conscious Cuisine in Irvine. And people were getting excited about that, but then the pandemic happened. So we lost some momentum there. So right now we are looking for a volunteer to lead the program in our chapter. So if there's anybody from the Newport Beach area here that is interested in it, please contact me. I'll put my email address again in the chat. And I'm excited that some of the restaurants that were off the list before, maybe they didn't renew, they're back again. And I want to give a shout out to San Diego chapter because last year I went to the Industrial Environment Association conference. That's an organization in San Diego, and it's there's a sustainability talk, and somebody from the San Diego airport was talking about how restaurants there are in the OFR program, and we have an airport in our area, so I'd love to talk about how you made that happen so we can bring that up here.
Great. Sounds like an awesome topic for the open discussion. Find out some more info on that. I love it. All right. Thanks, Michelle. Hopefully the no cost donation option will make it easier for volunteers to get involved with the program and help you guys get reignited again. Great. All right, let's go a little further up the way to the Huntington/Seal Beach chapter, and Casey, co-chair, I think, is out there. You out there, Casey?
I am. Let me unmute myself. Hi, Casey Faulkner here. Good to see a lot of you again. And for those that have never met, good to see you also for the first time. Hey, I just want to give a shout out to a young man who's joining us for the first time, Austin Reyes. So if you see him, say hi in the chat. This is his first ever Surfrider Anything meeting. Austin is graduating from college this week, and he wants to start giving out and giving back to the community. He grew up here in Huntington Beach. He played college baseball. And I said, you know what? We have a meeting on OFR 2.0. Dig in, and maybe you can take over our OFR program for Huntington Beach. So Austin is right now probably shaking in his boots, trying to figure out what the heck did I just volunteer for? So he's going to be looking at programs coming up and all of that. So again, welcome. And I know Tony, Shane, Richard from our chapter are out there, so I'm glad that they're here. Like you said, Bill, it all started with Huntington Beach, before my time, with Tony, Shane, and others taking up the mantle and coining the term ocean-friendly restaurant here in Huntington Beach. But I got to tell you what, when you said you were going to have this and you wanted us to, maybe do a little presentation, I was like, well, we haven't really done anything. And when Tony got promoted to staff, a couple years ago, he was our OFR guy. And I know during this whole COVID thing, he's been reaching out, trying to get restaurants to come back into the fold who weren't OFR certified. So I know he's been out there doing that. And some of the questions I had coming into tonight was, I just wanted to listen to see what was out there. What were the other chapters doing? And I was blown away. I mean, what Tam is doing, what Vicky is doing is just like unbelievable. And I mean, what a way to, reach out, go after restaurants that may already be ocean friendly, but don't have the moniker associated with them, get new restaurants. I mean, these are the kinds of things that I was looking for, and other chapter members were looking for, to see if we can start implementing them here. And it really is eye-opening, and really appreciate you guys sharing all this great information. However, I said this at one of the last meetings we had, and Bill, you probably remember this. I do know that we were talking about, and I know that Rachel and Jennifer were talking about, all bioplastics are bad. But I know here in Huntington Beach, I said this before, there's a company here called New Light Technology with their PHB bioplastics, which I think we're cutting off our nose to spite our face if we say all bioplastics are bad. And one of the things I think we should be looking at is maybe offering those as alternatives, maybe not directly from our chapter, but at least leading restaurants to some of those people that can provide some of those. So I would like to challenge, us to take a look at that, and to those that provide it. Only because I think it's a great product, because it is made from organisms, it is made from air carbon, it does ocean degrade over several months, and I think that would help out a lot of restaurants as well. Just my 2 cents on that. But again, I'm here to listen. I took copious notes here, on all the programs, what you have. I got everyone's emails, so that way I'll be sending some things out to get some more information. And I don't know if anybody else from our chapter has anything to add or say, but that's really what I was here tonight for, was to find out what we can do to, revamp, retool, and take it to the next level. So thank you, everybody, for doing that. And Austin, you don't know what you're in for, buddy.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're here to learn some of those best practices, and got Austin on board to absorb some of this and see if it's something they might be interested in. And yeah, we're not going to send anybody out there on their own. We're definitely happy to give volunteer support and make it as easy as possible for them. So thanks, Casey. Appreciate that. Let's move up the coast just a touch to another chapter looking to reignite the Ocean Friendly Restaurants program. And the Long Beach chapter actually had the very first iteration of a program like this back before 2010. They called it Beach Friendly Restaurants, where they essentially tried to identify restaurants that weren't using styrofoam at the time. So let me turn it over to the chapter vice chair, Erin Rowland. Erin, I will pull up your slide right now.
Awesome, thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to meet you all and see you virtually. It's great to see that we've got brand new, maybe first timers to the meeting today. So for all of you guys who are just jumping into Surfrider, we're really happy to have you. I just wanted to give a little bit of updates around some things the chapter has going on. We're definitely looking to just develop and implement the OFR program. Our chapter has had some limited capacity the last few years. And we, during the last year and a half with COVID, we, weren't very active. And we've been also anxiously waiting for the updates of this new program. So we're really excited to learn, as the other chapters have mentioned, learn from the other chapters, and we're really excited to get this program going in the city. We think there's a lot of restaurants we've identified that could be great partners and great program participants. So we just are looking to build our base and to get moving. And there's a couple of things we have planned if you're in the Long Beach area to come out and learn more. We are going to have an OFR kickoff meeting Monday, June 7th. It will be a Zoom meeting. This may be one of our last Zoom meetings for a bit as things open up in California and things are safer and people are safer in general, but we are going to keep that as a Zoom meeting. So you can see there's an email address at the bottom of the slide. It's our volunteer coordinator, Natalie, who is also on the call today. You can email her to let her know. We also have an upcoming beach cleanup Saturday, June 5th at 10 a.m. at the Belmont Pier. And then just another plug for a project we've been working on and just hosting a virtual chapter social also in June is to talk about a project where Long Beach was and really did host the first World Surfing Contest. And we've been working to get that project recognized and to get Long Beach recognized as a historical place of interest. For those who are not familiar with our city now, we unfortunately don't have any surf. So we want to recognize the surf that used to be here. We want to recognize some of the great achievements that happened with surfing, almost 100 years ago at this point. And that's just a little bit of different projects that we're working on. So Natalie looks like she dropped her email address in the chat box as well, but we'd love to get folks involved with the chapter any way we can. And we're really excited to kick off OFR, and we've learned a lot as well in the discussion today, and we look forward to kind of copying as much as we can and utilizing resources from other chapters. So thanks so much, guys.
That was awesome. Thank you, Erin. Appreciate that. Let's head up the coast to the South Bay chapter and one of the biggest advocates for the Ocean Friendly Restaurants program I know, Lenny Ramos.
Hi guys, my name is Lenny. I am the chair for the Ocean Friendly Restaurants program here in the South Bay, which includes everything south of Playa Vista and down to, I think, Palos Verdes. We are pretty much getting this program off the ground. I started in 2019 and trying to get restaurants on board. Was able to sign up about 5 restaurants about in October, started getting momentum, and then COVID hit. So COVID just, so we're getting back on board with everything. I started working on with Eugenia, which is she is from the LA chapter. We figured we'd join forces and start working together to build our volunteer base for OFR. And so we've been doing speaker series in which we're going to be doing a speaker series on policy June 22nd. And we're hoping Mr. Craig Caldwell, who is on the call with us now, will be joining us. Also, other members from the LA Waterkeeper, Kim Martin, and hoping one of our chairs for HQ will also join us to just speak policy to anyone interested in OFR and just trying to educate. We've just really been trying to educate and empower people about what plastic does for our environment. And hopefully once we start going into restaurants, they feel strongly and empowered to get restaurants on board and to speak about the program and why it's so important. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We have in the South Bay, what I've been doing as volunteer coordinator as well, has been trying to get partnerships with other organizations like the National Charity League. As one of the people on the Zoom, Terry Lynn, has joined us. She also is part of the National Charity League, and I'm trying to get partnerships with organizations like that to help me reach out to restaurants, trying to get them on board, just to try to spread the word about what the program's about. I've also signed up a middle school club at our local middle school here, and they're fired up to go to restaurants and try to start poking and prodding some of the managers there about why they're not ocean friendly and you need to get ocean friendly. So I really think engaging our youth is extremely important, and everybody wants to take their kid out for dinner, and what a better way is to get a kid who is really passionate about their environment and their future to be talking to managers and really engaging them and why it's important for them to be an ocean friendly restaurant. And then what else? That's pretty much it. That's what we've been doing. It's just me right now for OFR, and Eugenia, thankfully, she's been helping me with as much as she can and really leaning on the LA chapter to help me and educate me on OFR, as well as coming to these meetings, which is extremely helpful. So I'm excited to learn more about 2.0. And I thank Terry Lynn for coming and joining us today from the South Bay. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Lenny. You have some, you're helping to get some nice momentum going there in the South Bay chapter. So keep up the great work. All right. Well, let me turn it over to your partner in power in LA with the LA chapter, Eugenia.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Lenny. And thanks, everybody. This is so helpful. And hearing from all the other chapters, it's amazing. And I feel that collaboration is a huge part of our work. Here at the LA chapter, I actually joined the lead position during COVID. So it's been a little hard for me to get this off the ground. Before we had a great momentum, I was like organizing a lot of social events, happy hours that we used to call Pauhanas, and we have some great turn around like before COVID. And when COVID hit, a lot of people move around, a lot of people move away, and our team little by little kind of disappear. A lot of restaurants that we had that they were doing a lot of great sustainable practices adopt like to-go orders. So right now we're working and putting back together a new team. I have great collaboration. And we actually have a very successful meeting last month, and I have some great team members like Milena, she's on this call, and we are putting on a strategy to get together the team and start from scratch with the new OFR 2.0 on how we're going to approach it this year. And then we also have Olivia, that it's a mom, that she lives in an area where we don't have many OFRs, and she's going to help us do some highlights on restaurants. And also, like Lenny say, for us, it's so important to get involved like younger people that can be our ambassadors talking about the program. So right now we have also passed the bill in the LA for Skip the Staff, which I feel that it's going to help a lot our restaurants. And we pushed that a little bit with the kickoff of this year. The Lenny and I presented the movie that it's the story of plastic, and we had a panel that join us and give a lot of information. Our chapter also works together a lot, and we are very connected with Reusable LA that do a lot of great work in terms of plastic. So that's been super helpful as well. So coming up, we're looking for more volunteers to join this amazing new team that we're putting together. And also, I want to mention that we're trying to work together with July, that it's Plastic Free July. We have contact this great application that most of you might know that is called GoJIB. What they do is they rate the restaurants depending on the to-go orders and their containers that they use. And they're here in the LA area. So we're talking to them. They've been super helpful, as much as Jenny and Rachel sending information on what's the best to-go containers options. And GoJIB actually, it's been great because they can help the restaurants for free. So if you see it on your area, you can check out their website. It's super helpful. So anyways, coming up, we have the speaker series on the 22nd. We will have a little meeting the week before with the LA chapter on the 14th for all the new people that is very interested on jumping into helping with new volunteer opportunities. So if you are in the LA region and you want to join, please send me an email to OFR. I think Bill put my email on the chat. Thank you, Bill. And yeah, we look forward to learn from the other chapters.
I love it. That's awesome. Keep up the great work. All right. Last but not least, let me turn it over to my friend here in Ventura, Juan. I will pull up your slide right now.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So I'm Juan. I'm the current program lead for Ventura, and it's been nice to hear what other initiatives, other chapters have been doing, and more or less we're kind of following suit with what other chapters have been doing. So we've done during COVID, we did a utensils upon request petition, and we circulated that petition to many local restaurants in the area. That was mainly to combat the increase in rise we saw in single-use plastics and takeout opportunities. And kind of going off that campaign, we are going to start or trying to implement the Friendly to Go campaign from San Diego. So thank you again for San Diego for emailing me all those wonderful resources. It's been very helpful so far. We're currently in the talks of starting a pilot program with that, but it's been kind of a small hurdle because a lot of restaurant managers and owners have some COVID concerns with doing the Friendly to Go program. So we're kind of just kind of sitting tight on that and kind of waiting to see when like other restaurants, especially like something like a coffee shop, start allowing their customers to bring their own reusable cups again. Once we start seeing that being more prominent, then I think that program is really gonna take off. And yeah, so we're in the talks with at least one local restaurant to get like a pilot program going in that regard. Other than that, some exciting news in terms of for the city itself. They proposed a ban on EPS plastics that expand to food and beverage containers. So we hope to use this as an opportunity to educate restaurants on sustainable alternatives. And I already saw a mention to this in the chat, but where we just got in touch with someone from Plastic-Free Restaurants, and what Plastic-Free Restaurants does is they offer subsidies that cover the 100% cost difference between the single plastic to the initial switchover to a certified compostable or reusable alternative. And for the first 6 months, it's 100%. They'll cover the 100% cost difference. And then for the next 6 months, it's 50%. And then for the next following year, it drops down to 10%. So we're hoping to really use this as an opportunity to start working with restaurants to eventually get them over to the membership. But yeah, I think it's a really good opportunity to reach restaurants that have financial constraints, especially now during COVID. But other than that, we're really hoping once COVID restriction eases to really start being more aggressive with our in-person campaigning, and hopefully that will be in sometime in September. But yeah, if you are a volunteer from the area and if you're interested in getting in touch with me, I can drop my email in the chat. And yeah, thank you very much.
Perfect. Thanks, Juan. Appreciate that. And the final chapter in Southern California is the Santa Barbara County chapter. Erica was here earlier, but had to pop off at 7 for a work commitment. And the Santa Barbara chapter has a pretty vibrant ocean-friendly restaurants program. I believe they have over 30 restaurants signed up. They were able to get a grant from UCSB to help fund their program and signed up restaurants and get some dedicated help for their program, which is really cool. So we end up going a little long on our chapter updates, but that's totally fine because there is so much great information to share. At this point, I'd love to open it up for any questions or any comments or any other best practices that any of our chapter leaders would like to share, or any questions from any potential volunteers out there. So feel free to unmute yourself and speak up.
I have a question. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. I had a question for Jenny and regarding the local fishermen. You had mentioned we work with local fishermen. I'm not exactly sure how I would go about doing that to make sure it's the fish that is being sourced is sustainable, as well as part of the Seafood Watch. Could you guide me on that a little bit more?
Yeah, Rachel, do you want to take this question?
Sure. Yeah, this is definitely an ongoing effort and something that, you know, as we look at some of our optional criteria, I like to remind all of our volunteers and anyone who's asking about the program that we're not experts in every piece of restaurant sustainability. And so we really look to partner with local organizations that are more educated and can offer more suggestions. So, you know, I know some chapters have done a little bit more active outreach in that area than others. I know Hawaii has close relationships with a lot of the local fishermen directly. So sometimes it's just a matter of connecting with a local expert who can help guide your chapter on, you know, the best practices for your region. This again is something with Seaspiracy that I think will become a bigger focus in the program this year anyway. So we do plan on looking to some of our experts that we have within our network to guide chapters on how to handle this question of sustainable seafood. So yeah, certainly is a challenge and is outside the scope of, you know, I think our primary plastic work, but is related. So we do hope to provide some more resources. But yeah, in the meantime, I think connecting with a local expert is, or finding an organization that is involved with sustainable seafood is probably the best way to go.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Lenny, can I ask a question? This is Terry from NCL chapter.
Sure, go ahead, Terry.
Hi, so, you know, we are very interested in the OFR program, and I guess the question would be, how do we sit with you, Lenny, and go over how you want us to present ourselves when we go to a restaurant? Do we have flyers that we can pass to them? How do we get all the informational materials, etc.?
Yes, I'll go ahead and meet with NCL directly, and then we'll do a training together, and then I'll equip you with all the tools that headquarters has provided me, and we can work together on how we can approach everything.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. We'll be in contact.
Thank you.
Awesome. Nina, did I see that you had a question or comment to share?
I did have a question. So I know, just thinking about like the to-go program that SD has, and how I think Juan from Ventura was talking about coffee shops and stuff. And I know at the beginning of all this nonsense, it was like the shops like Starbucks and stuff were like, no more, you can't bring your cup. And it was like, okay, I get it. So now is it kind of looking and going to those places like individually, your local coffee shops, your restaurants, and saying, are you willing to do this? Or is there like, oh, I mean, is the law gone? I don't know what like even made them do that besides COVID, but you know, like how is it fine to now bring our own and we just have to talk to each individual place and say, are you cool with this happening?
Yeah, great question. Vicky or Rachel, I don't know if either of you want to try to tackle that one.
I will try, and then Rachel can finish off. But Assembly Bill 619, the California bill, as far as I know, it never went away. Restaurants can still accept people's container, even to the back of the kitchen. Where it got a little tricky during COVID is county laws can override state laws. So it really depends on the county. You would have to go to the county to see if they allow it through the health department. But that's what's so great about the Ocean Friendly To Go program, is that it's no different than busing a table of a customer that's dining in. So as long as they're following that protocol for busing a table in their restaurant, or whether it's in their restaurant or outside their restaurant, it's the same health codes and same protocol, and they shouldn't worry about breaking any rules. I know, I'm totally blanking on his name. I just messaged him too in Ventura. Juan. Yeah, Juan had brought that up. And so I messaged him just to make sure that restaurants are educated about the program and that they understand what it really is, that customer's container never goes across the counter, and it's like they were dining in.
Yeah, exactly. Vicki, I think that, you know, for the most part, the guidance from local health municipalities has basically been there hasn't been anything that has said you cannot refill. I think that is an assumption people are making because there is a fear around reusables being less safe. And so I did drop some information in the chat about World Refill Day that is coming up on June 16th. And that is, I think, probably the first year that this is really something I've noticed a lot of local organizations focusing on. And I think one of the reasons is there's such a need right now to encourage restaurants to start accepting those reusables again. So we will be putting together just like a small communication campaign around that. And I'd really love to share the to-go, Ocean Friendly To Go guidelines. I think it mirrors contactless coffee, which I also dropped a link to in the chat, where you have a sanitized station that you're doing the exchange. So that could help alleviate some of those concerns that may still be lingering. And yeah, I will be sending out an email tomorrow to get some more information. But yeah, you're not alone in feeling the challenge there. I think it's something that's going to be a little bit of a hurdle to get over.
Great, thanks for that info. Mike, I see you have your hand raised. Do you have a question?
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm new to Surfrider, planning to start volunteering with the Long Beach chapter. And my question is, are there other ocean-friendly restaurant type organizations that offer kind of the certification that Surfrider does that we're collaborating with? Like, does Heal the Bay do stuff like that? I'm just curious.
Rachel, I think that's another good one for you.
Yeah, I can't answer locally because I know there are some smaller local organizations that focus with on restaurants. But I can say from the national level, there are two prominent groups that we have good working relationships with. One is the Rethink Disposable, and they are out of Clean Water Action. And they really help provide financial support to restaurants that are making that switch. And they do focus a little bit more locally, I believe out of San Francisco. And so we don't have a whole lot of overlap. And then there's Oceanic Global, which is another national organization. And they are a little bit newer to the space. They have something called the Oceanic Standard, which actually covers all types of businesses. And I think that their forte is tending to fall a little bit more in the event space, which did go on hold for COVID, and they started to get more involved with restaurants. However, I do believe we have a little bit of a different focus, and we are also working together with the Break Free from Plastic movement. I think the end goal of OFR and all of these different programs that are popping up is really to change policy. And so we all try to work collaboratively in that space. But I think the grassroots network that is part of the Ocean Friendly Restaurants program is really unlike any other. And that's kind of what makes us unique and stand out in the space. So yeah, I know there are more local, smaller ones that are working as well, but we haven't been, at least at the national level, working collaboratively with them yet.
No, that's great. And I think a number of local chapters work with local community groups, like Terry from the National Charity League. We've worked with a few of their chapters, and working with schools also. Kids have been great advocates for reducing plastic, and now that there's no mandatory fee with the program, it should be easier for students to get out there and help to engage with restaurants. So yeah, we definitely like to work with local groups whenever we can, for sure. Amanda, I see you have your hand up. You have a question for us?
Well, kind of just want to introduce myself too. I'm new also, and I'm in Sunset Beach / Huntington Beach. And so I was curious when I was on the website, is not, I guess I missed the beginning where there was the specific website for OFR. And so maybe there's more to learn on there. But I'm just trying to wrap my mind around what's like staying connected through the local chapter and whatever sort of volunteer information, trainings, that kind of thing happens. And if that's all I need to do is like connect with the chapter leader through that email, versus like you guys seem like a big community that do things together somewhat. And is this a meeting that happens regularly to stay connected to as well as a volunteer?
Yeah, great question. If you didn't already pop your email into the chat with where you live, go ahead and do that. I'll make sure that the Huntington Seal Beach chapter gets your name and contact info. And ideally, all of the local chapters are hosting Ocean Friendly Restaurants committee meetings, either monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly, so that you can help get engaged with the program locally. Sometimes it might be part of their, general chapter meeting, something along those lines. And then quarterly, we have been doing meetings like this, with multi-chapters, especially when we've been on Zoom, since, you don't have to, drive, all throughout Southern California. So as Richard said, Huntington Beach has some ideas cooking. So they're a really fun chapter. They have a great crew down there. So thanks for joining us tonight, and I'd love to get you connected with them. Awesome. Any other questions or comments out there?
Yeah, Bill, it's Craig Cadwallader. I'd like to make one observation, and I've been saying that we've been kind of bogged down in pandemic paralysis, but I wanted just to share with everybody that week before last, the city of Palm Springs had the first reading on their first ever foodware ordinance that includes a reusable element in it. And last Monday night on the 10th, the city of Culver City had the first reading on their updated foodware ordinance, which also includes reusable elements in it, which is really great. And it was mentioned in the chat that the city of LA passed a skip the stuff ordinance for upon request foodware accessories. And just today, the county of Los Angeles started the process. We're trying to get their ordinance to sync with the city of LA ordinance. The unincorporated part of LA County is 1 million people. The city of LA is 4 million. So if we get them to sync, we have 5 million people covered. And then there are the 83 cities in the Los Angeles County area that we'd like to get ordinance in as well. So things are moving forward. The great news is we're breaking out of everything being installed, and hopefully a lot of new efforts are going to move forward now to help get the plastics out of the environment. Just wanted to share that.
I love it. Yeah, thank you for that policy update. That's really promising. And the more stronger policies that are out there, the easier it is for restaurants to be ocean friendly, because they have to adhere to those standards that some of the cities and counties are setting up. So that's really the end goal at the end of the day, some strong policy to help prevent plastic pollution at the source. Great. Any other comments or questions before we wrap up? Hearing none, that is awesome. I appreciate everybody taking some time to join us. I'll be sure to get everybody who dropped their email into the chat connected with local chapter leaders, or you can reach out to them directly. Hopefully you got their email address if you didn't pop yours in there. And hope everybody enjoys the rest of your week, and hope to see you all in person soon with your reusable mug to cheers to Surfrider. So enjoy the rest of your night. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Bill.
Take care, everybody.